Hey everyone, I'm Alan Leggett here in Studio B, Tempe at the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences, and I'm going to show you right now how to properly set up a mic on a mic stand. Here at the Conservatory, the majority of our mic stands are made by a company called Atlas, and the stand that we are looking at right now is an MS-25E stand with a PB-21X boom. Now, Atlas is a company that allows you to kind of customize your stands and your hardware. You can buy the stand independently of the boom arm. And so this particular stand, as you are looking at it, is approximately $250. It's very well built. It's meant to last. And the great thing about using these stands is that they work. So for any of you who have used some lesser quality mic stands, then you know that you probably have to over tighten, otherwise your stand will sag or potentially fall. This is not going to happen with these. These stands are built well. You do not need to over tighten these. They will hold. So when you're working with an Atlas stand, or any mic stand for that matter, it's important to understand where the different points are that allow you to configure the stand and position the mic stand the way you want. And in this case, we have a clutch right here. And if I loosen the clutch, I can move the boom arm. Now this boom arm has an actual 2-pound steel counterweight. And this counterweight is there to literally counter the weight of the microphone to balance. So this is solid, this is heavy, and it will counter the weight of a microphone, which is great because that means that when you put a mic on a stand, the stand does not become lopsided and want to tip over as easily. So now notice, I don't have to over tighten this clutch. You'll see how loose the stand is right now, right? And notice, I don't have to tighten this much at all. I don't even call it tighten. I call it snugging. We just need to snuggin it, right? So we just put a little, you just go finger tight and then a little wrist. That's all you have to do. And it'll hold. Now in addition to that, if we need more height, we have a barrel that we can loosen, and you can see that this stand will almost double in height. Now, with the boom arm itself, we have our main telescoping arm that allows us to adjust the counterweight, and then we have an additional telescoping extension for fine-tuning. So this makes placement of a microphone really, really easy when you're trying to get a mic, whether it be set up for a vocal or a drum overhead or in front of a violin. You have a lot of options with a stand like this, and it is sturdy. So I'm going to take a Spark here, and I'm going to set it up as if I were going to record a vocal. So once again, not over tighten, just a finger tight and then a little wrist. And then I'll loosen the boom here, give myself a little counterweight back here. Now, here's the shock mount for the Spark. And one of the things that we want to make sure we're doing is not putting ourselves in a position where we can make mistakes. And one mistake you don't ever want to make is dropping a microphone. Not only do you want to not drop a microphone, you don't want to drop a clip or a mount or anything associated with the microphone, because even if you drop something that isn't going to be damaged by the impact, guess who you are now? You're the person who drops things, and you don't want that to be your reputation. So we don't make mistakes because we take steps so that mistakes never happen. And one of the easiest things we can do is never let go of the mount. So instead of trying to put a mount on like this, which I've seen multiple times and drives me absolutely crazy, I'm going to actually loosen the telescoping arm so it can spin freely. And I'm going to now thread that into the mount itself. This is much faster and much safer because my hand never comes off the mount. And now I can retighten, or re-snuggin, if you will. And there we go. I can adjust the height here. knowing that eventually with my mic in the mount, the capsule will be right about this height. So now I'm going to take the mic. Now, there's a saying at one of the studios I used to work at that a mic is either in your hand, in the case, or on a stand. So a mic should never be in any other place other than one of those three places. It stays in the case until it's ready to go on the stand. And it gets to the stand by way of your hand. So don't ever put a mic on the floor, on a windowsill, under your arm, in your pocket, even if it's just for a second. Because there's dust and dirt. And if you put a mic down next to that dust and dirt, that can get onto the diaphragm, that can weigh that diaphragm down, and over time, that can affect the sound quality of the microphone. So always keep your mics in the case until they're ready to go on the stand. So here's our Spark SL, just like you guys have. Now with this particular mount, it threads in to the base of the microphone right here, and on the mount itself, the base of the mount actually spins. So once again, I don't want to put this mic in the mount and then spin the microphone. Right? The mount is designed so I don't have to do that. I can hold the mic steady, making sure that I have absolutely no chance of dropping the microphone, and then simply thread the mic into the stand by spinning the base. This is how it's designed to work. And so once again, not only am I decreasing my potential to drop the microphone by always leaving the microphone in my grasp, but it's also much faster than trying to spin the microphone. So now, there we go. So here we are next to one of the mic source panels in the studio, and I have my mic cable, and I'm going to run the cable from the panel to the stand. That's the fastest, most efficient way of doing that. So I'm going to start with the male end of the XLR connector, and I'm going to connect that to the panel. Now notice I'm holding the bulk of the cable in my hand, and I'm going to let the cable out as I'm walking towards the stand. And if you'll notice, you'll see that there is some tension in the line right there on the cable. Now that's not good for a couple reasons. One, it's not good for the health of the cable because the conductors are being twisted internally. Two, it's a trip hazard. Three, it looks terrible. Now that may not sound as important as the other two, but it is, right? Things have to look just as good as they sound. Otherwise, people will not take you seriously. Now, if I were to continue running this cable and plug the cable into the microphone on the other end, then what I've done is I've locked that tension into the cable. So the only way to get rid of this is to actually address it as I'm running the cable. And it's very, very simple. All you have to do is see which way the cable wants to go and literally just twirl it out. Just twirl it out. Easy. And then we have all the cable coiled up nice and neat right at the base of the stand, where I have my female end ready to come up the mic stand to the microphone itself. Now, different facilities will have different approaches on whether they may want you to wrap the cable around the stand or not, and that's one of those things that the internship is for, where when you go to a facility, they will tell you exactly how they want you to do this. So I'm going to very gently take up just enough cable. As you can see, I'm kind of measuring it out. How much cable do I really need to get up to the microphone? And I need about this much. And I'm just going to very gently go around the stand a couple times here. Now, notice it's not tight. But what this is going to do is it's going to serve two functions. One, it's going to keep the cable out of the way of any potential artist or instrument that might be underneath the mic stand. Another thing it's going to do is if for some reason the mount were to fail or the mic was to come out of the mount, then this will act like the seatbelt in your car. It'll be loose until it needs to tighten. And when it feels that, it will tighten and the mic will not hit the floor. Worst case scenario, it'll bounce off the stand, but at least it's not hitting the floor. So it's kind of an aesthetic thing, a vibe thing, so no one's trying to like dodge cables or anything like that, and a safety thing for the microphone. Now, when I have the female end up here and I'm ready to plug it into the mic, one thing we definitely do not want to do is sit there and just do that, right? There's pins, and on some pins, like tube microphones that you've talked about, those pins can be very, very thin on the output of the microphone, and they can be bent or broken very easily. So we want to make sure that we're checking our pin out and going straight in. So sometimes you got to get limber. You got to go under the microphone. Make sure that you are checking your pin out and the cable is going straight into the base of the microphone, and that way you have a nice secure connection and you're not going to potentially bend or damage any of the pins. So now we have a mic ready to go, a nice clean cable run. All the slack of the cable is coiled up at the base of the stand. Looks neat. It's going to sound great.